Përshëndetje shikues të nderuar, ja ku po takohemi përsëri në edicionin e radhës të emisionit Mimoza. Siç e dini, emisioni Mimoza realizohet në bashkëpunim të ngushtë me kanalin 10, me kanalin e gazetarëve. Ne përsëri sot jemi këtu në ambientet e hotelit Manami, i cili është hoteli më luksoz në vend, i cili shquhet për mirëpritjen e mysafirëve dhe për kujdesjen e tyre. Mua më duhet patjetër të falenderoj edhe ata të cilët janë përkujdesur për dukjen time, që është saloni Blossom në Prishtinë. Gjithashtu nuk dua të harroj edhe ata të cilët janë përkujdesur për lëkurën dhe mirëmbajtjen e saj, për dukjes time, e që është saloni Perla në Prishtinë. Në studio kam të ftuar një zonë të cilën keni pasur rastin të takoni edhe në një edicion të kaluar, e cila ka folë më shumë për Italian grupin, e cila është një grup i mjekëve nga Italia të cilët po realizojnë tashmë shumë vite punë në Kosovë. Unë pa humbur kohë dëshiroj ta prezantoj zonjën Angelika Korica, e cila është presidente e Italian Group edhe ambasadore për Ballkanin perëndimor, lidhur me çështjet të cilët kanë bëjnë për shëndetësinë edhe për tema specifike që ata janë të licencuar. So, Miss Angelika Korica, welcome again in our program.
Good afternoon. Thank you for invitation.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure is mine.
So we've been talking in our first edition together when you were guest. We were talking about the importance of the Italian group, the presence, how long you work here. But I think slowly, since our audience is raising their interest into matching their health needs with your services, it's very much important to know what are the specific topics that you are specialized, or let's better say licensed, because that plays a huge role so people get informed and come and knock on your door before we open the real topic of today.
Yeah, it's necessary to present to the patients what we can do for them. So we started with orthopedics and complex and complicate orthopedic and traumatology surgery.
What does that mean?
That
in
is
simple language.
Okay, so you have the bone, muscle, ligaments, tendons, no, from the shoulder until to the foot. So in Kosovo, you are very good in traumatology. Some of centers are good in joint reconstruction of knee and hip, but the shoulder, no one is doing something they are doing that is 10% of that, what is the shoulder surgery. You have to understand the hand is different by legs, because the legs are connected with the body and your hand is working independent of the body. So here you have the 4 tendons who are keeping attached the hand for the rest of body. So it's very difficult.
Is that one sphere of your license that it goes together?
No, because that is inside of orthopedics and traumatology, because in Kosovo still today you don't have the doctors who are doing only one thing. It's necessary to be good in one thing. On this so small population of 1.8 million citizens, it's very difficult to be good because you need a lot of patients. So you have to open one reference center for southeast of Balkan, forget all of the patients. So for shoulder surgery, it's very reduced experience, very limited experience of the doctors.
Let's list them.
So that is the start from shoulder, hip, knee, foot, and hand surgery. Okay, that is orthopedics. In orthopedics and traumatology, we are going to make the bone elongation because you have a lot of infection of the bone. You have to remove that part of bone, put it some kind of device, fixator, and in 2 months the leg will growing 1 millimeter by night. So that is another one very interesting point of orthopedics and traumatology, because you have a lot of infection of bone. You have to remove infected part for growing new bone and then give to the patient opportunity to walking and not stay in wheelchair for all of the life. Another one important, we started with orthopedics and traumatology. Then we introduced pediatric cardiac surgery.
So children can have access.
That is very important, because in Kosovo, in Çakırkë, you are not performing that. You have some kind of humanitarian mission who are coming 2 or 3 times by year.
Other services, yes.
But for emergency cases, you have to take airplane and go in Italy, Turkey, Belgrade. So our doctors are performing that. For good surgery, pediatric cardiac surgery, you need pediatric cardiology. You have one of professors in Čakovka, but that is not enough in all of Kosovo. So diagnostic part, that is pediatric cardiology. In all of the world, on 1,000 of babies, 8 of them are going to be born with the cardiac disease. Not 8 of them will be for surgery.
These are the statistics?
Yeah, the worldwide statistics, not only Kosovo. So that's what is very important, the cooperation between gynecologists, neonatologists, pediatrics, and cardiologists. If there is necessary surgery, pediatric cardiac surgeons too is going to be involved. So another one thing what we are performing, that is neurosurgery, pediatric neurology and neurosurgery of kids and for adults too. So there is, again, it's very, very important, good neurologist who will send the patients to neurosurgeons. So it's not the neurosurgeon who are going to make the diagnosis, it's neurologist usually. So we have that too. They are working in cooperation with neonatologists, with gynecologists, in prenatal.
More than 5.
Yeah, you cannot work alone. You cannot think to perform something as protagonist.
And it's interlinked.
You need a team. The team who is going to make diagnosis, screening, diagnosis, treatment, and post-operative part, that is rehabilitation. And you don't have cardiac rehabilitation and neurorehabilitation.
But the formula that you explained last time, so the patient will go from Kosovo patient to Macedonia, it's doable also with the same licensed doctors that you mentioned
our
here,
doctors,
right?
They have the license in Macedonia. Unfortunately, in Kosovo, with new Uzim administrative, it's very difficult. You are going to waste the time.
But it's important that this line is working.
Yeah, it's working very well. And
that's good to know.
It's on one side, it's very bad organization of Uzim administrative about licensing of foreign doctors. At the other side, it's very good because the fund of ministry is working better than 2 years ago.
The reimbursement
they are
part,
very correct.
was
They are correct, and that
tricky.
is very important for the patients, not only for us. So another one important thing that is sexual medicine and urology, innovative procedure. We spoke about that last time. And otorhinolaryngology, that is another one important field where you have 3 of them, who is treating the ear, who is treating the nose, who is treating larynx, pharynx, and that part, because you have a lot of tumor of that side. I'm not going to talk about tonsil, I'm just going to talk about oncologic and complex surgery. That is what we are going to give as support. So all of the patients who are constrained to going outside from Čakovka, in Turkey, Italy, or around, we can stop them and give to them the service. Unfortunately, we cannot operate in Kosovo about complex and complicated procedure of licensing of doctors. But Skopje is on one hour, 80 kilometers of the road. So for the patient, it's very easy, and they have the staff who is speaking Macedonian language and Albanian language. So they are always followed by the people who can understand them.
So for me, it's very much important to know, since you're operating for 9 years almost here and working in many fields, and we will try during our meetings and our interviews to also have live testimonials, to have patients that have gone through these experiences. So what is their well-being? How do they feel? What is their experience? Because I believe when you deal with health stuff, you have to trust someone that comes all the way from Italy, opens the door for you. How was that experience with you?
We have complex and complicated patients, so that what they need, they don't need to know about surgical technique. They need a trust. One of the most important problems, that is the language, because the doctor needs, just like patient needs to understand the doctor needs to understand the patient. The most important part of diagnosis, that is that connection and conversation between patient and doctor. We will invite our patients to speak about their experience, and it's very, very interesting because most of them couldn't walk. They had the problem to stay in the bed all of their life, and we resolved the problem. It's not only about healthcare solution, that is about quality of your life.
You have many of them? You have many of those stories?
Yeah, I know all of them. I'm speaking.
You have contacts?
Yes, always, and they are very kind people because they remember you for the rest of their life.
How does that make you feel as a human, as Angelica, beyond the titles?
Yeah, it's something. It's an important stimulation and motivation to be here. It's very difficult to work here. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of obstruction, and because you are the country in transition, so you are going to develop now the procedure, the law, organization, management, and it's not so easy to bring Italian doctors. They are all directors. One of them, he is mayor of the president of the city, so it's not so easy for them. Say to them, okay, let's go to Dubai or Chicago. It's excellent because you have all of the conditions for come there, put in the gloves and going in surgery. Here you have to prepare everything. Sometimes, just like here in Pristina, we should make reconstruction about all of the hospital, ventilation, the electricity system, and other things.
The basics,
yeah. The technical conditions are very important. So for us, it wasn't so easy, but this respect what the people has, not only respect, they have the love for you. So they calling you for New Year, for any kind of celebration, and they are grateful for the rest of life. But I want to repeat, it was all complex and complicated patients who have been constrained to stay in wheelchair or on the bed, and that is very difficult for family, not only for them. So we resolve important life problems, so we have very, very good connection, and it's going to be friendship after health treatment.
Without losing time, I just want to touch up a little bit about the topic that we are going to talk today, which is in particular thyroid, and we call it genre thyroid in Albanian, and we will give enough space to also have the direct connection with the doctor, with Dr. Maurizio, if I'm not wrong. He will be through Skype and discuss details and his experience and the possibilities.
I'm not talking only about women, because every time when you are talking, they are thinking only the women has the problem of thyroid. Thyroid has two parts. It's here, right and left, and in a lot of cases you have the nodules there. So what is going to be done, the standard procedure, is to remove half or all of thyroid. Then you are constrained to live with Euthyrox. Any morning you have to take that pill. So it can be very complicated, because they have to find dosage. The people has the problem of tachycardia and other things. What we are going to do with Dr. Mauro Mazzucco, this is technique not so new. He's performing that last 20 years with excellent success. You are going with one needle only in that nodule what you have on thyroid, with one machine of radio frequency in 5 minutes, without total anesthesia, without cutting. You are going just to make nebulization. So for 5 years it can coming back again, but you preserve your thyroid, and your thyroid is working without problems. That is very important, because today you can going around and see the people who has the cutting here, and it's aesthetically it's very bad, but it's not so bad, just like you remove one of the part of your body. And one pill sometimes cannot working so good, just like your thyroid. So the thyroid is not sick, you just have one nodule there. Why to going to remove completely or half of thyroid?
I have one last question, which is maybe technical, but I believe from the perspective of patient, it will play a crucial role. In the first program, when you were guest, you mentioned that the legislation in Kosovo reimburse. It's very good also paying in advance, so the patient will be good treated in your hospital. So this is a good collaboration that we can call it as a success. But I'm interested to know, is there a list of different diseases or traumas or any type of cancers that are listed, that this negotiation will support them, or it will empower them to get reimbursed? Is there a list, or how does it identify?
It's very, I try 4 or 5 years ago, I tried to explain to Ministry of Health to introduce
just briefly,
the system.
Where are we standing now?
So please put it one list, just like in any country. Put it one list with diagnosis, treatment, and the price.
Is there
for us it's better. I'm private businessman, so for me it's better this situation, because I'm going to make the price and not fund. So how it's working? The patient can go in Čakovka. In Čakovka you have a commission, 3 of doctors, 3 of specialists. They will put it, this is diagnosis, and this is the treatment what we propose. Unfortunately, we cannot perform that in Čakovka. Čakovka is reference center for all of the hospitals. No. It's not a job of doctors. They just have to make diagnosis, give diagnosis.
How can the patient identify that they can benefit?
No, I will explain you. So the patient will going with that paper, he will going around for private clinics or outside, private and public outside, and he will get the pro-invoice. With this paper from Çakırköy, decision of the board is not possible to do that in Çakırköy, and with 2 of pro-invoices, the patients are going to fund of Ministry of Health. Then you have another one that is Finance Commission. They will board they will. Yeah, but where is the problem? If you are going to take 2 of pro-invoices, I hope so the Ministry of Finance will not listen me in this moment. So if you are going there, you have 2 pro-invoices. One is 10,000, another one is 8,000. They will make a choice of this last one. Probably that surgery has the cost 3,000 euro.
Maybe procurement conditions and measures.
It's wrong system because they don't have control of budget. So for one surgery, I will take 20,000 euro. Turkey will take for the same surgery 30,000 euro. Or I don't know, in Italy they will take 50,000 euro. Why? Because market has control of your budget and not your fund and your government.
So they it's still a missing culture and expertise of
they don't
controlling.
have control of finance.
Which gives you leverage in your business.
It's my business, so I'm very happy because it's not working. So for me, it's very, very good. Sorry, but for patient, that is important to be paid. That's what is not good because for most of category of citizens, they are paying only 70%.
But do you, as a hospital, facilitate this process?
We can do nothing because it's not allowed by a fund of ministry. We are just going to explain to the patient what to do.
So you explain to them?
Yeah. We are going to give
help
to
them where to knock.
That what is not correct from the law, from the government of Kosovo, that is because they are paying 70%. These people has very low salary. This is so low standard of salaries in Kosovo. So how the patient can find 3,000 or 4,000 euros? So he's going around to looking for humanitarian organization and to looking for the money. That is something what is not correct. Or you are going to take control of budget and pay 100%, but you are going to keep control. How they could do that? So if you are going to say for bone elongation, this is the price, 7,000 euro. And I don't care if you will going in Skopje, in Tirana, in Turkey, in Italy, but this is the price what ministry will pay. So every one of us must accept that price. Today, which is the situation? I'm going to give 10,000 euro pro invoice, another one hospital 15,
and there is this variety.
The last one, but what's happened? They are just going to lose. So keep control about your budget, and all of the patients will get opportunity to be financed by
the ministry.
The
this is a good recommendation also for the Ministry of Health. So we could also, as we're going through the transition, to learn also from your experience and from the importance of having high-level specialized doctors and a license at the same time to work on this. So I will like if you have the last message for the audience, because it's very much important so they hear Dr. Maruzio talk about the importance of thyroid, which is called he's a hepatologist. And it is very much important from him to talk on our next session on the symptoms, on the ways forward and possibilities. So I believe he also has good views and pictures, concrete, so our audience could understand. So what will be your last word just to wrap up this session?
It's important not only about thyroid, about everything, that what you miss in Kosovo, that is the screening. Over 40, after 40 years you have age, you have to going to check the man prostate and colon, the women the breast, mamella, and the pap test. So that is something what your municipality is not doesn't have, and they don't invite you to do that, but that is very important. As that is important,
another recommendation.
One time by year, just going to make the completely check of blood. Why? Because the blood you can find any kind of symptoms are starting from the blood, so you can see there. So start with screening. So one dinner, what you can spend, I don't know, 100 euros. So don't spend for the dinner, for cocktail, for dressing. Go and invest in your health.
That's a great great, let's say, final advice for the patients and for people in terms of taking care of their body, of their well-being, so they can be able to see in forward what is expected when it comes to different
they
health.
Are coming sometimes that is too late.
Exactly.
So if disease, if your pathology is in the first step, so we can make a
to
good
intervene.
Job.
Yeah.
If big, we cannot give a strong guarantee of healing of treatment.
Totally.
So it's very important screening. Don't wait the first symptoms, because sometimes when the symptoms are coming, then it's too late.
Yes, I totally understand. Angelica, thank you so much for being here. It's so pleasure to always have you in our studio to share your experiences, but at the same time give concrete recommendations for the patients, but also for the current government, for the Ministry of Health, and without forgetting the expertise that you bring with your doctors and their recommendations that we will hear in our next chapter of the program.
We are happy to help this country in growing of healthcare.
Thank you so much for being here.
Shikues
të nderuar, kaq kishim për këtë pjesë. Tashmë në pjesën e dytë do të kemi të kyçur përmes Skype-it zotri Mauro Mazzuro, i cili është mjek, hepatologjist, i cili do të flet më shumë për simptomat e tiroides dhe për mënyra të ndryshme të adresimit të saj në bisedën që do ta kemi. Gjithashtu do të flet edhe për eksperiencën që ka kaluar dhe mënyrat se si do të mund të intervenojmë më shpejt. Përshëndetje shikues të nderuar dhe mirë se erdhët në pjesën e dytë të emisionit Mimoza. Si gjithmonë, ne jemi do të thotë këtu, këtë emision e realizojmë në bashkëpunim me kanalin 10. Këtu jemi së bashku duke vazhduar do të thotë pjesën e parë të diskutimit që kishim me tema specifike të cilat kanë të bëjnë me gjendrën tiroide. Unë në studion time do të thotë kam dy versione të ndryshme të musafirëve. Kam zonjen Angelica Korica, e cila edhe sot është bashkuar në studion tonë për të shpjeguar më shumë për temen. Mirë se erdhe Angelica, welcome.
Thank you.
Gjithashtu përmes lidhjes së Skype-it kam profesionistin dhe doktorin e mirënjohur Mauro Mazzuro, i cili do të na kyçet drejt për të folur më shumë për gjendrën tiroide dhe për specifikat e tij, për simptomat, për rreziqet, për rezultatet, për format e intervenimit që të gjitha ata të cilët kanë probleme të tilla mund t'i realizojnë dhe t'i adresojnë do thotë në spitalin ku zonja Angelica më shumë do të flet edhe në pjesën e dytë, që është Italian Groups, edhe që ka edhe qendrën dhe zyren në Prishtinë dhe gjithashtu intervenimet të cilat realizohen në shtetin tonë Shqinë në Maqedoni. So without further ado, thank you for coming, Angelica. We will wrap up the topic after Dr. Mauro will complete with the specific questions, because as you know, we have sort of agreed and we need the professional opinion from the doctor based on his experience, so we could have as more clear as possible for our audience that really do need these type of interventions, that really do need to be informed when it comes to symptoms, forms of interventions, results, risk, and all what is there followed together with the support that your clinic and your group offers. It can be served in their own benefit. So,
thanks to you for kindly invitation. We are so glad to talk again about modern and advanced medicine.
Yes. So without further ado, Dr. Mauro, can you hear us?
Yes.
Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Grazie a voi.
Okay, so it looks like you are going to speak in good Italian language, but I will continue in English so we can have proper communication with our audience, and we will have also subtitles so they will have a better understanding. As you know, today we are going to talk about thyroid nodules, and as you know, it's a very common condition, as professionals would like to call it. So can you explain us what are we exactly talking about when we mention the thyroid nodule, and should we fear their presence if we notice it in us, and what are the early symptoms? How can you briefly explain us the thyroid disease, benign, malignant, and all the other sides?
Ok, allora il nodulo tiroideo è molto diffuso si pensi che circa il 40% della popolazione, anche in Albania, presenta noduli tiroidei anche senza avere nessun sintomo. L'aumento dei noduli tiroidei lo riscontriamo perché facciamo molte più ecografie. Facciamo molte ecografie nella popolazione, quindi ritroviamo molti noduli tiroidei. La fortuna è che il 95% di questi noduli tiroidei sono noduli benigni, però non per questo possono creare delle problematiche. Questi noduli possono crescere dando origine a quelli che sono dei veri e propri bozzi, quelli che si riescono anche a vedere esteticamente, che danno un danno estetico. E questi noduli, praticamente la diagnosi è molto spesso ecografica e in altri casi dobbiamo raggiungere praticamente la diagnosi con quello che è l'ago aspirato. Come dicevo, solo il 5% dei noduli è maligni e sta nella esperienza, nell'abilità dell'operatore riscontrare quali sono i noduli e sottoporli quindi a biopsia. Molto spesso questi noduli, come dicevo, tendono a crescere di volume e quindi comprimere le strutture vicine come la trachea, l'esofago e quindi dare dei problemi di deglutizione, per esempio, o di respiro. Ecco che in quel caso è bene intervenire.
Dr. Mazzucco, can you please tell us, probably this is a very basic question, but the idea is so our audience understand us better. Can you tell us in short words, what is the difference between malign and benign? You mentioned it.
Yes, allora, per quanto riguarda i noduli benigni e maligni ci sono delle caratteristiche ecografiche ben precise che si sono via via conosciute negli anni. Molto spesso i noduli maligni si trovano piccoli, al di sotto del centimetro. Sono noduli che hanno delle caratteristiche ben particolari che l'operatore deve saper riconoscere. La cosa fortunata è che la cosa positiva è che i noduli anche maligni sono a lentissima crescita. Stiamo parlando di 1-2 millimetri all'anno di crescita, per cui qualsiasi intervento noi facciamo sulla tiroide, che dopo vedremo, è risolutivo. Sono rari i tumori della tiroide che portano a problematiche di tipo metastatiche o a problematiche di alterazione della sopravvivenza del paziente.
What is the therapy that you usually recommend to the patients that do have these type of tumor diseases?
Allora, tra i noduli noi dobbiamo anche distinguere, per passare alla terapia più adeguata, i noduli cosiddetti freddi dai noduli cosiddetti caldi, che la scintigrafia tiroidea ci può identificare. Il nodulo caldo, due parole, è quel nodulo che funziona molto, che dà un quadro di ipertiroidismo, cioè di una tiroide che funziona diciamo di più e di conseguenza ed è sempre benigno ed è riscontrabile dalla scintigrafia. Le terapie a cui noi possiamo andare incontro sono essenzialmente tre: la terapia chirurgica, la terapia con radioiodio e la terapia con termoablazione. Io volevo soffermarmi un po' sulla terapia su termoablazione, in quanto è una metodica che con un intervento locale, loco-regionale, mi può dare gli stessi risultati di una chirurgia, cioè senza tagli, senza bisturi, senza un'anestesia generale, noi possiamo ottenere gli stessi risultati della chirurgia con poche ore di degenza.
Is there any difference when it comes to gender difference, age, way of lifestyle, eating? What is your experience? You have huge experience all around the world.
Allora, la mia esperienza per quanto riguarda i noduli tiroidei è negli ultimi anni ho trattato 200-300 persone, solo 150 persone negli ultimi 2 anni. L'intervento avviene nei noduli benigni, noduli di grosse dimensioni, anche noduli ben visibili, i quali praticamente con anestesia locale, solo con un ago molto sottile, in 5-10 minuti trovano la loro risoluzione. La termoablazione praticamente usa questi aghi con onde radio particolari o con le microonde, quelle stesse del forno di casa, vengono portate all'interno del nodulo con temperature fino a 100-150 gradi e si crea praticamente la distruzione del nodulo stesso. Chiaramente noi dobbiamo stare attenti alle strutture vicine, ma sappiamo esattamente quali sono le strutture sensibili. I risultati sono una diminuzione del volume del nodulo dal 60 all'80% con una scomparsa dei sintomi di cui dicevo prima, sintomi da compressione, già dopo la seconda o terza giornata, senza tagli, ripeto, senza nessuna cicatrice che rimane dopo l'intervento.
The forms of treatments that you have explained, you mentioned surgery, you mentioned this rooms with the specific isolated rooms that you mentioned. Somehow, I'm not sure, but you can help us. These are quite expensive, how to say, ways of treating it. And you with your group and with Angelica here somehow are in the region, I would say, very particular, very specific in terms of offering conditions. And you have around more than 200 cases that you have directed and solved it in all possible ways when it comes to therapy.
Molte persone possono essere sottoposte a questo trattamento. Come dicevo prima, circa il 40% della popolazione ha noduli tiroidei. E vi do solo un dato italiano. Nel 2021 40.000 persone sono state sottoposte a intervento chirurgico maggiore, cioè è stata tolta la tiroide, anche se funzionava normalmente a 40.000 persone. In queste 40.000 persone il 70% aveva noduli benigni che probabilmente potevano essere trattati in altra maniera, mantenendo la funzione della tiroide. In più si sta allargando anche il campo anche al trattamento dei noduli maligni al di sotto dei 10 mm, in quanto si ha lo stesso risultato a chirurgia mantenendo ancora una volta la tiroide in sede e funzionale. Oltre a tutto questo c'è un risparmio economico notevole, perché l'intervento rispetto a un intervento chirurgico, che è un intervento, ripeto, che viene fatto in day hospital, cioè il paziente si ferma 4-5 ore, non di più, presso la struttura dove viene fatto l'intervento e torna al lavoro qualcuno già al pomeriggio, se non il mattino successivo. E questo intervento costa almeno un quinto rispetto all'intervento chirurgico e non lega il paziente a nessuna terapia a vita sostitutiva come invece nell'intervento chirurgico.
Which one of the interventions and ways to solve this problem is more secure or more safe, which has lower risk level?
Dunque, per quanto riguarda la valutazione del paziente, le indicazioni e controindicazioni deve essere attentamente valutato. Le controindicazioni maggiori che noi possiamo avere sono quelle di lesioni del nervo ricorrente. È il nervo che praticamente va a muovere la laringe e quindi ci dà il nostro tono di voce, ci dà la nostra voce. Il paziente viene tenuto sveglio durante l'intervento anche per questo, per monitorare la sua voce. Nella mia esperienza non ho avuto casi di lesione del nervo. L'operatore sa dove il nervo passa e quella zona non viene trattata. Nella mia esperienza ho fatto anche cantanti professionisti, attori, quindi hanno continuato a fare il loro lavoro tranquillamente.
Is there, just because we're reaching the end of our interview, I would like to know, is there any very much early symptoms or any specific ways that you will advise our audience so they could somehow take care of themselves more, so they could stop until they come and faced with this specific tumor?
Allora, non c'è una relazione tra l'insorgenza dei noduli, l'alimentazione o lo stile di vita.
Okay.
C'è invece una causa ben precisa nell'aumento di questi noduli, che sono che avvengono più facilmente nelle zone carenti di iodio, quindi lontane dal mare, zone interne, e anche per l'aumento della radioattività. Io voglio ricordare tutti che una delle cause di aumento dei noduli tiroidei sia in Europa ma anche nei Balcani è stata Chernobyl. Negli anni di Chernobyl la radioattività depositata al terreno è stata molto elevata e questo ha provocato nettamente un aumento delle patologie tiroidee e delle patologie nodulari tiroidee.
Exactly. Dr. Mazzucco, thank you very much for this brief interview. We very much expect you to be guest in our studio so we could talk more about your experience and very specific support that you offer for the clients that particularly come from Kosovo on behalf of Italian Group. Thank you very much.
Grazie a voi, grazie.
Angelica, as we've heard, Dr. Mazzucco, he very much briefly explained, and he has done a lot of differences when it comes to type of tumor and also what are the symptoms, the ways and the interventions, which are specific services that the group of professional doctors that your hospital, your company, that you direct offers here. I'm very much interested to know also from your experience, because you're not new in Kosovo, you are for so many years here and you have impacted health, but also many people's life throughout different interventions. So what will be sort of your advice from the human aspect, because you really do know Kosovo in very deep details when it comes to legislations, health conditions and so on, just so we could direct their health need towards the services that you provide.
Yes, this technique, it's not a surgical technique, it's invasive technique but not surgical, it's mini-invasive technique, and I will explain with simple words. And you have one generator device, and that device has one needle. That needle is coming directly in the nodule of thyroid, not only thyroid, hepatocarcinoma and malign cyst of kidney. Where is the benefit? You are not going to cutting, you know, when you are going to see not only the women.
Explaining it very...
not only the women, but the men. For the men is the same. But when you are going to cutting, you are going to make a risk of anesthesia, total anesthesia. You are going to make a risk of bleeding and other complication in post-operative time. So this mini-invasive treatment, it's a benefit for the patient, no risk, and the most important benefit is to keep your thyroid. You know, the thyroid has two of lobus, right and left. So why to going to remove half, partial or radical, total thyroid if you have only the nodules, benign nodules? So you are just going to make, I can call that vaporization of that nodule, and then your thyroid will continue to work normally. So that is the benefit for the patients. Another one benefit for the hospital, that is because you are not keeping the patient in intensive care, you are not keeping the patient in the hospital, you are not going to engage the surgery room, so it's going to be done in ambulatory, under echography, and that is procedure of 10 minutes. I done the same because Dr. Mauro Mazzucco is my doctor too. So we done 2 times the biopsy. You have only a little small hole,
needle,
and nothing else.
You are the real testimonial. Just so we save some of the time, we will close our discussions here, and we will see each other in the next topics and discussions where we will discuss also other topics that are crucially important. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks to you for kind invitation. It's a pleasure to be your guest.
You're welcome, always. Shikues të nderuar, këtu i erdhi fundi edhe këtij edicionit Mimoza. Ne do të shihemi në edicione të tjera të radhës, në të cilat do të diskutojmë edhe tema të tjera të rëndësishme nga fushat të cilët kanë drejt për drejt, do të thotë, impakt në jetën tonë. Mirupafshim.